Behind this fabulous structure lies the vivid story of a great American. Overlooking Sarasota Bay, 4 miles from downtown Sarasota, Florida, this architectural masterpiece was once the home of John Ringling, master showman of the circus world. Patterned after a Venetian castle, its ornate detail in polychrome terracotta are classic examples of the Byzantine architecture of the 5th and 6th centuries. Today, it is one of the great showplaces of America. Ringling rose from poverty to millions. Success inspired him to use his talents and wealth for a different, greater purpose, on a project unknown. Ringling visited Florida early in the century, liked the climate and the charm of this land of sunshine. Before that, interested in art, the masters. And he was disappointed because so few people, those in the big cities, were privileged to study and appreciate the great works. It was then Ringling conceived his great plan. He determined to create with his millions an empire of culture. He reasoned that Sarasota, because of its ideal climate and beauty, would be the logical place for this monument to humanity. Ringling envisioned in Florida an epicenter of culture, even more impressive and complete than that which in ancient times existed on the sun-bathed shores of the Mediterranean. The erection of his great home was his first step in this direction, but it was only a minor part of the overall plan, a much greater project. And nowadays, people from the treasures John Ringling amassed. They gaze upon the magnificence of this edifice and upon its impressive tower reaching skyward. The grandeur of Ca d'Azan, which in Venetian dialect means House of John, because to the House of John belongs to the people. It is not because of his home that they pay tribute to John Ringling and Mabel, his beloved wife. Behind the scenes, they see far more. They see the magic gaiety of the dazzling circus with its clowns and wholesome American entertainment. And they remember the Ringling brothers, Albert, Otto, Alfred T., Charles, and John, the showmen of the circus world, who brought the big top to its greatest glory and made it a living symbol of the American way of life. It gave John Ringling the wealth he needed for his project. Next door to his home, he built the John and Mabel Ringling Museum of Art, which the people of Florida now own. Today, under the operation of the state, the museum is a mecca for art and nature lovers. It has become internationally known as one of the great art museums of the world. The architecture, in keeping with Ringling's theme, is in the style of Italian Renaissance. For these and the thousands of other visitors, the walls within hold the treasures of a miracle. The museum is designed around an inner garden or court, and its top balustrade is surmounted with 76 life-size statues, most of which were imported from Europe. The role the museum now plays in the education of youth is an important one. Art classes utilize the facilities of the museum, not only to study the works of the old masters, but for landscape studies. Because of the museum, Sarasota has become a gathering place for artists from over the world. These students are from a local art school. And this young lady is not from a school. She just has to get in the act with her coloring book. It's a nice way to start anyway. Many groups of students from Florida cities and neighboring states visit the museum. classes are invited to participate in a planned program of instruction. These students from the Florida State University are getting first-hand information from their instructor during an annual 3-week seminar. And even more important is the introduction to art the small fry get under the broad educational program. The museum's 1,000-volume art library of valuable and often rare books is open to everyone. These third graders from the Sarasota Public Schools are studying subjects such as history, Latin, and music through the medium of art. And now for the treasures behind the walls. The museum's 700 paintings are valued at more than $15 million. The assembling of this collection took more than 35 years of John Ringling's life and a large part of his fortune. Conducted tours of the galleries are a regular part of the program. A portrait of the Infanta Isabella Clara Eugenia by a Spanish painter of the late 16th century. She was the favorite daughter of King Philip II of Spain. This cartoon for tapestry by that immortal Flemish Renaissance painter, Peter Paul Rubens, is Abraham receiving bread and wine from Melchizedek. The museum, which has the most important Rubens collection in North America, recently added this portrait of Cardinal Infant Ferdinand. It cost $30,000. A canvas by Karel du Jardin, a Dutch painter of the 17th century. This painting, called The Rest on the Flight into Egypt, is considered one of Paolo Veronese's best. Portrait of a Bearded Man by Leandro Bassano, a 17th century painter. This painting by Guido Reni is Salome receiving the head of the Baptist. St. Matthew writing the gospel at the dictation of his angel. It is attributed to Orazio Gentileschi. Christ raising the son of the widow of Nain, attributed to Agostino Carracci. Reputed to be worth $500,000, this familiar portrait of the Burgermeister of Haarlem by Frans Hals is one of the most valuable paintings in the collection. The Duchess of Alba by Francisco Goya. When it was cleaned, it was found that it had been overpainted by another artist. It says, ladies, notice. And here's where these mysteries of the art world are uncovered. It is the restoration studio. Were it not for this important department, the valuable ancient masterpieces of centuries past would soon deteriorate into oblivion. The restoration and preservation of art is a specialized field requiring thorough training, expert craftsmanship, and painstaking work. A mistake might ruin irrevocably a work of art which could never be replaced. Because of this, visitors are usually not allowed in this studio. Here the restorer is touching up a part of a famous Rubens, the departure of Lot and his family from Sodom. When the restorer cleans a painting, he first uses a solvent to remove the protective coating of varnish. The painting gradually lightens as the solvent is applied. Gentle scraping with a scalpel is sometimes used to urge the process along, but there seems to be no mystery behind this one. The museum John Ringling built next door is truly a great contribution to modern education. Standing guard over this great trust of the people is a huge bronze cast of Michelangelo's heroic statue of David, a mighty symbol of strength. John Ringling's priceless gift to the people, this museum and his home, is a trust of honor. As John Ringling North, his nephew, said for the family in delivering title to the state, "My gratitude is in the knowledge that my uncle's cherished dream has now become reality."